Matty Fresh on the track up at State. And I'm bringing to you live my boys Alec and Nate, Tequila Ty, Jay, Nelly, and Zillin in the building. So kick it back, pour the drink. We chillin' because I'm boozing and betting and balling like I'm 2-6 in the blue kicks. Watch me move quick. Yeah, this the blueprint. So who's getting involved? Welcome into the show. This is Booze, Bets, and Ball, baby.
And welcome back to Booze, Bets, and Ball, a Penn State football podcast brought to you by Big Banter. So, Nelly, how was your senior year whiteout?
It was good, I guess. Dude, getting into the game still sucks. They have no idea how to do it. I got in line at 5:30, got in by 6:30. Luckily got a good seat.
That's good.
It's still really fun. I kind of wish it was Michigan, but still whiteout. I'll take it. And it wasn't raining during the game, so I was like, all right, good.
Yeah, so the weather actually was not that big of an issue as Penn State dismantled Iowa 31-0. I think this is something we alluded to in the pregame show where it was like Penn State could cover, Penn State could put up 30, but it probably has more to do with the fact of how good the Penn State defense could be versus Penn State's offense totally taking over the game, because that is hard to do against a team like Iowa who plays pretty good defense. So I'm going to try to get these stats up here. Last time I did it, it started playing highlights from Patrick Mahomes, so that was fun. Cade McNamara got benched, 5 for 14, 42 yards, 2 strip sacks to Deacon Hill, the backup. Not much better, but at that point it was kind of a lost cause for him. Drew Aller, pretty good. The 4.5 yards per attempt is interesting. 4 touchdowns, obviously great. No turnovers again. I don't know if they're the only I think it's the Power 5. They're now the only team I think that hasn't turned the ball over, because it was them and Oregon, and Bo Nix, I know, threw an interception yesterday.
Okay.
So I think it's just Penn State now, but pretty good day for Aller. The receivers, Keandre Lambert-Smith, pretty nice day. The tight ends we talked about this on the pregame show too. Tight ends got gone a little bit. Theo Johnson, 6 for 42, and Tyler Warren, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. He reminds me of Robert Tonyan a couple years ago on the Packers. Had 30 catches on the year, and 12 of them were touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's really starting to feel like that. Iowa, there's not a lot to talk about there. I guess defense really quick. Your leading tackler had 3 tackles, whereas Iowa's had 18.
Jeez.
Yeah, that tells you the difference. In Penn State ran 64 more plays. Let's see the team stats here, but they had 4 first downs. Yeah. All right, let's make sure that doesn't play music. 4 first downs compared to 28. Penn State 9 of 20 on third down is a really good number, and it is gonna. Well, you get to listen to that. So yeah, that wasn't too bad. The 4th down efficiency though, 4 for 4, really difference in this game. I feel like really big number.
Yeah.
Penn State 215 rushing yards, but it was on 57 attempts. But the turnover margin, obviously the big thing, 4-0, and the time of possession, 45-14. Look, this is kind of what we thought could happen, because the Iowa offense, as we expected, was really bad. Outside of the second half against a really undermanned Western Michigan team, they were not a good unit at all this year, it seemed like. So I'm not overly surprised by that. I guess if we're looking for a negative here, which I don't want to harp on any negatives, but what do you think's going on with the run game? Because they still cannot break anything. Singleton, 17 carries for 49 yards is not great by his standards. And with a long of 19, it was pretty much 16 for 30 then, which is less than 2 yards a carry.
Yeah, no, it's been bad. I mean, I was like the only thing last game that would take out of that, like, we still don't have yet. We haven't established our run game. But to not have it established and still put up 31-0, like, that's showing, like, once we can have a run game, like, our whole offense will be open. Because, like, yesterday was terrible. I mean, Allen had a pretty good day. 21-72 wasn't terrible, but Singleton was literally held to nothing. Because he had, like, that one run where he, like, stayed up. That was his 19-yard run, and that was it. Like, I didn't see he didn't do anything. K-Tron had a pretty good game, but it's weird because, like, our O-line has given up 1 sack all year. So, like,
I love our house. The outdoor space is great, but
the run game, I guess they aren't doing great in, but I don't know. We'll see to figure that out. I mean, Northwestern's a good way to get that going because they aren't a great team on the road. Yeah, it's on the road. Yeah, we need to. I mean, they don't really have a crowd because what happened this year, but still need a run game because we don't have an upset after a big week. Plus, did you see they came back like?
Yeah, I didn't realize that. They were down 21 in the fourth quarter and came back on Minnesota and beat them in overtime. Their quarterback Ben Bryant had like 400 yards and 4 touchdowns after he had 400 yards, 1 or 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions on the season coming into this game. So that I'm looking forward to breaking that down a little more this week. But back to the run thing really quick. It feels like I do feel like they're withholding some things in the run game, especially with Singleton. They've made more of an effort, I feel like, to go between the tackles, whereas we know him, it's more of he's better in space. There hasn't been like a lot of pitches, tosses, stretch plays, and I think maybe once we get to Ohio State, we'll see that a little more because it really hasn't been there. So that's the one thing with the offense. I'm still waiting to see get going. Other than that, I mean, Allard, I guess with the offense too, they're on the passing game. It's a lot of taking what the defense is giving you because they did not go downfield at all again. Yeah, it was a little rainy, a little windy. I just think they actually played Iowa's game and manhandled them at it because Iowa's a team where they like to just nickel and dime you to death, work the field. They like these long drives that take 7 to 8 minutes, and they're not taking shots down the field with incomplete passes or possibly an interception. And really, Penn State did that tonight. They took what Iowa gave them in the short and intermediate pass game, and then cashed in on some short touchdowns. I don't think the longest touchdown
might have been the Lambert Smith catch. Let me see. Warren twice at the red. On the 5.
Yeah, so the longest was 9 yards.
Yeah.
9 yards was the longest touchdown play of the game. So they went right up long drives and pretty much bullied Iowa at their own game. So that was awesome to see. I do think these next couple of weeks we do need to see a little more explosiveness from the offense because when you play Michigan and Ohio State, Iowa's a pretty good defense. When you have no offense to go with it, a defense starts to break down. Obviously, Ohio State and Michigan have better offenses. So Penn State, the chance of sustaining these long drives isn't as great. You're eventually going to have to hit a home run play or two to score. So, I do want to see a little more there. But at the end of the day, Penn State, 4-0, up to 6 now. They passed who did they pass? Oh, man, I can't think. USC. Yeah. USC dropped 3 spots, and they moved up Penn State, Ohio State, and Washington, who I think all deserved to move up. Not that USC's done anything wrong. I just think, with Washington's putting up video game numbers on everyone, and Ohio State won a crazy game at Notre Dame last night. So that pretty much now puts it in the ballpark that Penn State and Ohio State will both be undefeated in a couple of weeks when Penn State goes to Columbus. So I know people like to say 1-0. Obviously, got to give Northwestern a little more credit after their win last night. But between them and UMass, I think after what I saw from this team last night, I'm not sweating a game outside of Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And also, I mean, USC's defense was terrible against Arizona State, so they definitely aren't better than us. Yeah, Washington's they've been going crazy. Can't even lie about that. I think they should be ranked ahead of Florida State. I think they're a top 3 team. But
Yeah,
Ohio State, I mean, yeah, they won a big game, but their offense, like, I'm usually so scared to play their offense, and I just haven't seen anything where I'm like, we can't beat this team. Like, they won a tough game, but they showed nothing. Like, Marvin Harrison, I know he got like a little banged up, but like I haven't really seen him have what he was last year. He dominated last year. So I really don't know what to expect because with how our defense plays, if they keep playing that way, I still think if our offense plays mid, we can beat Ohio State and Michigan if we have Michigan at home. So, like, I don't know. I'm excited for this year. We just got to keep winning each week. This team
definitely. Yeah, so, Manny Diaz, I think, has figured out the whole defense in the rain thing because the number one thing to do when you're playing a wet slick game is obviously both teams are going to try to run the ball more, and he's made sure that they can't run the ball on him. Since Diaz took over the start of last year, Penn State's played 3 conference games where it rained. Northwestern last year, Maryland last year, and then last night. I know it wasn't a downpour like some people thought it would be, but it was still a wet game. Penn State's only given up 116 rushing yards in those 3 games combined. So whatever he's doing when it rains is working. So maybe it should rain when Michigan comes to town in November. Yeah. That might help. But that was something I found interesting. They, for what everyone says about they're a little weak against the run, when it rains, you got to stop the run. And Manny Diaz has made sure that Penn State's doing that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we definitely gotten better. Our D line finally broke out too. Chop got sacks, sacks, fumbles. Like they were going off, so that was good to see. Getting some confidence going into the next few weeks. Into that bye week, the biggest game that we got this year. So
definitely. All right. Well, we're both exhausted because yesterday was wild, so we're gonna cut this one short. We'll be back later in the week for our Northwestern preview with the crossover. Got to get in touch with those guys, but we'll see you later in the week.